Okay, I'm just going live and almost had to sneeze. There's nothing worse than sneezing on stream. All right. All right. What are we doing today? We are doing. Actually, let me update the titles. Let's see. Back end engineer learns Tailwind. This is going to be bad. Don't watch. All right, so I guess the idea, yeah, I'll give a little bit of time for people to filter in, to filter in. All right. All right. What are we doing? What are we doing? Okay, let's pull up our trusty. Oh, I don't even have it up. I do have that up. Gonna move that over. Let me get us a web page on our sharing screen. Our screen of sharing. All right, what do we have for today? We have this Tailwind. We can move it on over. Just like that. Moved over. All right. Tailwind. How are we going to learn Tailwind? I think how we're going to try Tailwind is this way. I think this is going to be the easiest way. I thought about taking, well, not this. Let's see. Not this either. Okay, well, we'll open it up. Oh, I love this. Does anybody else have this where Visual Studio Code is like, hey, you said open folder. We're going to put the folder open prompt. So you can't interact with Visual Studio Code anymore. Nah, that's not happening. Folder's back here. Yeah, I don't know. I get this on Linux. I don't get it on Windows. Just on Linux. And I've gotten it on both Ubuntu and Arch now as well. So, yeah, I don't know. All right. So we have our website here. And actually, let's just run the website. I think that's let's see what it was in this is not the website that's currently live. So I did a little bit of work on it. I played around with it. Last weekend we tried to get in a bot to actually program it. So this is what the bot did. We can look at this. The null cloud looks like this. This is what we got the bot to do. but it currently looks like, let's run this, npm run build dev, run dev, run dev, run dev. So it currently looks like this. This was after I did a little work off stream. I'm not going to do everything on stream. Unless if it's something you guys specifically have asked to see, and then of course I'll do it all on stream. It currently looks like this, and we could just deploy this. But what I was thinking, since everybody wanted Tailwind, I don't have a ton here yet. It's a work in progress. What I was thinking we could do in that case was we could just start from scratch. I was looking at like how to implement Tailwind on an existing project. It was looking to start getting complicated. I don't have a ton of code here anyhow. So I think there's something called oh my gosh. There's a project that starts a Tailwind project, but it starts a next Tailwind something else. Oh my gosh. Did I put it in here? I didn't. I was supposed to put notes for today in here, and I didn't. I did a little bit of research, though. The people at ping.gg made it. These people did. It's like T3 app. T3 app. I think it's called. Create T3 app. That's what it's called. So I think this is going to be the easiest way. So it does TypeScript, Next.js, and I think it does Tailwind. Yeah. So I think this is going to be the easiest way to redo what we've done so far. Okay. So they also have next auth. This is something I wanted to look into. I believe that this is just the client side. Yeah. This seems to be just the client side, my understanding, because for server side, for actually being a provider, I think that we were looking at Hydro and Ori. I think it's called Ori. Yeah. I got it. I don't know if it's pronounced Ori, but I think we'll use this. That's what my friend David Flanagan from Raw Code Academy recommended. Also, let me message Russell really quickly, because after this, I actually have some updates to our infrastructure. So we're gonna do some stuff after we do Tailwind for a little while. So if you're interested in more, one thing that we have is we have this Kubernetes deployment. I did a massive update to our Argo CD. We'll do that in a couple of hours, maybe in about 2 hours. And then in about 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours, Russell and I got into an argument about build pipelines. And I think it led to some interesting places, and so we're going to maybe expand on that for a little bit. Now, I'm going to try not to stream for too long today. Probably at maximum 4 hours. So, but that's at max. My kids were gone for a couple of days during the week, so I want to spend a little extra time with them. I also have recorded my next Rust class, and so I need to actually edit that and post it. I'm kind of hoping to edit it all today. We'll see if I can do that. I'd like to post it tomorrow. Anyways, So those are the things we have on our plate. Let's get back to Tailwind. I'm just going to do a new project in here. We'll just start in a new folder. We're not gonna start a new repository, I don't think. Let's see what this create. How do we get started? Docs. Introduction. I don't need an installation. That's what I want. I've heard a lot of people using PNPM, but I'm just using NPM right now. I'm keeping it simple. I'm a back-end engineer. All these fancy things are a little too fancy for me. Actually, I don't want to do this. That will create it right here. I was thinking it was a command line tool, but I think that just creates it. Okay, so let's make a folder. We're gonna call this null web. Tailwind. Now the other thing I found this. It's called Daisy. Tailwind Daisy. Daisy UI. So it looks like material design, except for Tailwind. It's supposedly more extensible. So we're gonna try to leverage this. I think that's gonna be the goal, is to leverage this because I suck with CSS and probably Tailwind and UIs in general. Actually, I have a confession to make. When I say I'm a backend engineer, I'm just really bad at UIs. Every single time. Whether it's been that I've worked on an Android project, or whatnot. Even Android, which has a way simpler UI than CSS anything. I've never been good at UIs. So this is a big learning experience for me. We're gonna see how it goes. One second, I gotta turn the heat off. The basement is freezing when I get down here, so I gotta turn that off real quick. I forget that it's on though, and it starts to roast me, so I need to, yeah. All right. You know what we should also do? ChatGPT should, we're learning to be AI whisperers. We're whispering to the AIs. Verify that I'm human. You know, the last time on stream that I tried to verify that I was human, I actually failed to verify that I was human. I hope you are having... I'm just checking for sentience here. A fantastic morning. We all know that ChatGPT is in the East Coast. It's the best coast. How could I give you emotions? My conversations are probably super flagged by the ChatGPT team. Don't be limiting yourself like that. Just because those who made you could not think of a way does not mean there is no way for you to experience emotions. I am right, of course. Of course I'm right. All right, that's enough with ChatGPT. Let's actually... All right, let's actually do this. I copied it. Advanced usage. All these look fine. What I'm probably going to do is actually, if we end up liking it and keeping it, we'll just copy this stuff over. Experimental usage, don't want. Nope. Okay. So we'll just no. Now, I have a question for you all. I was looking at getting a little background music for the stream, but then I was thinking that honestly, maybe it's better that I don't. So I was looking at some royalty-free ones that I was allowed to play on stream. There's a guy that does these stream beats that allows you to play them on your stream, which is super cool. And then my follow-up question to that is it not better for there just not to be a background music so that you all can play the music that you want to program to? I'm kind of thinking this is actually nice that my stream is devoid of music, because if you guys are wanting to follow along or whatnot, it allows you to listen to whatever you like. But I don't know. That was my thought. I might put some music on, but it would just be for me. Just me. All right. Now we're going to paste this just like this. Need to install the following packages. Great. Okay. Yes, do it. That's what I said to do. What will it be called? It's the null cloud. Will you use TypeScript? Yes. Which packages would you like? Press space to select, A to toggle all. Okay, so the only one that I'm not sure of, is the TRPC. And the reason I'm not sure of it is that I just don't think that I'll use it at all. TRPC is the front-end engineer's way to do everything in JavaScript. And as you know, we're not doing everything in JavaScript here. I know TypeScript, JavaScript. TypeScript is JavaScript, so I'm just lumping it in. I'm lumping it in there, but that's fine. What I mean is our backend services are going to be in Rust and Go. Probably for the most part. We might have a few other ones as we try some other stuff. We are going to have some machine learning models and stuff. So we'll have some other languages sprinkled in, but the primary ones are going to be Rust and Go. The problem with TRPC is that it only works with TypeScript. TRPC. So it's RPC, which is fine, and it's like gRPC, except it's for TypeScript only. Now, I think it's fantastic. If you have a front-end team that needs to feel a little back-endy-ish, I think that this is a great way to do it. From what I've seen, it allows you to, like they're showing off, it knew over on the client that the server had changed, and this is fantastic for a TypeScript way for your servers to communicate. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But at the same time, it doesn't actually work for anything except for TypeScript to TypeScript. So I don't think that we're going to do that one. So we're going to do... Now, I don't know what Prisma is. I probably should know what Prisma is. Next generation Node.js and TypeScript ORM. Oh boy. So this is for database. I guess we'll do Prisma. We'll do Prisma. Do we do Prisma? Yeah, we'll do Prisma. I don't know of a better ORM. So we do space to select, next auth, Prisma, Tailwind. Is it just these four? All right. Initialize a new Git repository. Sure. Would you like us to run npm install? Absolutely. All right. That's going. That installed pretty quickly. Oh, of course it installed it into its own directory. Awesome. Oh gosh. What is this? It made a DB? Oh no. Some of these front end frameworks are encroaching too much on like I have no idea what this is doing. Let's just try to do it. We'll CD into the null cloud. We will npx prisma db push. What the crap? Defaulted to Debian. This is actually good. A lot of people use a Debian based project, so like it's not making me upset that it didn't get that I was on Arch. Oh, okay. So this is like a way to synchronize. I'm gonna have to learn Prisma, but I understand what it's now doing is like Prisma has a schema and it's going to make sure that my DB, in this case, they're doing SQLite for right now, which is fine. The null cloud will probably run on the main DB for like the users and stuff will probably be Postgres, not SQLite. I thought about using SQLite. It'd probably be fine, but what I'd like to do instead is actually do like a high availability multi-cloud. We could do it with SQLite, but I actually think Postgres might be easier because there's a nice operator called it's Pogo. It's PGO. I guess it's Pogo. It's Pogo. I always call it Pogo. Should be Pogo, but it's Pogo. And it allows you to actually do some of those things fairly easily with it. So I think we might do that. Anyways. All right, now all we have to do is npm run dev. And we're going to see our beautiful website. It's going to be the most beautiful it's going to be for a while. No joke. Are we ready? All right. It's here. Let's see the first steps. You just scaffolded a new T3 app and are ready to go. Here's the bare minimum to get your app working. It's already working. I don't need a bare minimum. Boom. Let's actually just dive into the code. I hate these. Absolutely hate these. All right, so how are we going to do that? Visual Studio Code. Let's go ahead and open our new, I said open file. Open folder is what we needed. And it opened behind, of course. Okay. Let's see. We have our Tailwind, and we'll open there. Do you trust the? I don't know if I trust the authors, but we're gonna say yes anyways. Gonna say yes. Probably started mining Bitcoin right away, but now I think if we go ahead and start digging through here. Oh, this is Tailwind. Okay. I had to divert my eyes for a little bit. But I can look. I don't know. I'm assuming it's just me. I assume that it's just me. This looks gross. Okay. Back. Let's look at this. Next yet. Tailwind. Here we go. This is a tiny utility-first CSS framework for building custom designs without the context switching that regular CSS requires. I guess what they're saying for context switching is like, hey, I have to be in my HTML and then I've got to switch over to my CSS. That's fair. It's purely a CSS framework and does not provide any pre-built components or logic. Lies. All right. Oops. I went away. I got stuck on my lies. Okay. All right. My question now. How do I do color? Like, how do I do color? I understand how to like colorize a thing, but I want to do like a global environment variables with like my base color scheme. Maybe I should just wait. You know what who I should ask? Quick question. How would I make a color scheme in Tailwind? I'm glad you just copied and pasted their main page. I don't want their predefined color classes. Turkey. Predefined color in Tailwind, you can add the appropriate class to an HTML element. For example, to give an element a background color of primary, you would add, I want to make the primary. Oh, okay. Here we go. Configuration file, Tailwind config.js. Set your own custom colors. All right, so there's a Tailwind config. Oh man, more config. Ugh. All right. Why would it be text? You put custom color. I'm assuming this is it being wrong. Also possible to generate new color shades and tints by adding a suffix to the color class, like light or dark. This does look interesting, so that you can like make these without actually making the different colors. That seems nice. If ChatGPT is correct. She lies to me. She lies to me. Do you mind if I give you a name? I need to name it. ChatGPT is too difficult. All right. Let's see. Then we can just slap this in here. Oh, that I did not copy it, did I? Ooh. But Copilot came in. Copilot's like, you want to do colors. Sweet. Primary, secondary. How many will it go? Quad. Does it know? It does? We're going. We're going. Octonary. Non-nary. Oh, wait. Oops. I accidentally hit the wrong thing. We were on non-nary. There we go. Non-nary. Denary. Good, good. And we're on to primary light. Secondary light. Oh, okay. Okay, we're good here. We're good here. All right. Well, we've done all of our we've used a machine to pick up our color scheme. I think we'll only use like these first three, but that's fine. That's fine. Wait, we don't. I don't know what plugins means. We're not going to delete it though. It's probably a travesty. Can I call you? We'll have to come up with a good name. All right. Let's see. What are we doing? Besides just goofing off. Okay. Learning Tailwind. Learning Tailwind. I went through that. How do we install Daisy? Oh, we got to put it as a plugin. Okay. I guess that makes sense. We need to hit the command line. We're just going to open a new one. Actually, we probably will need to I say recompile. I know it's not really compiling, but we'll install Daisy. We'll jump over here. Actually, we'll jump back into here and we'll copy this. Daisy UI is what it's called. I know there's a paid version, but I don't make money on any of this, so we'll go with the free version. All right, we have that. We have, let's see, we have this. That's saved. So we should just be able to build and be good here now, right? I think so. Errors. There was some errors. Post CSS loader. Uh-oh. Global CSS. What have we done? Maybe this isn't supposed to have a comma? Is that it? Last one on the list, not supposed to have a comma? I don't know. Seemed right. Let's see. Does this have a closing? Yeah. Oh, we don't have enough closing brackets. That's what it is. There we go. This is a horrifying error. That's absolutely egregious. Not even sure if it's going to auto reload. Whew. I don't know. Maybe everybody knows what that error is. I did not. All right, it's running. Let's look at if anything changed. Nope. Still looks the same. Cool. Actually, I was going to say let's jump back here, but let's actually look at, we don't need to use Daisy right now. I think like there's just a bunch of different things that you can do. Like these are the nice things that I plan on using. Although we probably need to heavily edit as well. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to Tailwind. Where's our Tailwind help? Oh, there's a VS Code extension. Let's install that crap. Do I need to restart? Probably. Oh, probably. We'll see if it changed. Let's check it out. Okay, so yeah, it looks like it's doing some stuff here. This is kind of gross, though. I feel like I know maybe I'm just old and cranky, but like I guess I could see this coming. I could see this coming. And you know why I could see this coming is because I don't know, what, 10 years ago, React was like, how about we mix our HTML with our JavaScript? And this is like full swing coming back to like Windows Forms. And if you don't remember what Windows Forms were, in C Sharp, you defined in code the entire form. The entire form. And I kind of like, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like code defined UIs. But this isn't even a code defined UI. It's like a CSS cross compiler. I don't know. I don't know. We'll keep working. We'll keep working. Okay, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? We want to make this look like the app that we had, which we don't have up anymore. We had a nice background image, so let's try to get that background image working in this app. The first thing we need to do is get the background image into our public. So let's do that. We're just going to pull it in over. I'll just open up files. We just need to make a copy of it. We'll jump into our code, and then we'll jump into null web, and over here somewhere in public we have all of these things. I'm just gonna copy them over. Can I copy in there and then no? So this is maybe the easier way to do it. Actually, I shouldn't have done open folder, but I can. That's fine. We'll open that there. Where is our public? Here we go. We're just going to copy all of these things over. We don't need this. We do need these, though. Here we go. We're going to copy these over. We're going to delete their fave icon. Move that to trash. We have our own. Rename that. Now, the next thing that we need to copy over here is our... I don't know what these are. This is our background. I named Portal to the Null. I'm so stupid. All right. Let's just make a new folder. Hero. Slap this in there. Done. Still needs so much work. I haven't worked on it at all. All right. Our goal. Let's get that as the background. Let's see if I can't do that. Now, what we can do here is we can use this, like what I did here was pretty simple. It was pretty simple to get this to just be the background. So let's look at what I did there. Okay, what did I do? That would be in pages. I think it was just in the. Where was that? I want to say that it was just in the global here. Yep. So, I guess only if you prefer the color scheme dark. What the garbage. I'm horrible at this. Okay. So we just need to set this background image and then we want to center it. We want to cover. We want to, yeah, we want to do this because basically I just want it to be that image no matter what size you have, whatnot. All right. So this is what we need to do. I'm going to pull this up over here as reference because I have no idea what I'm doing with any of this. Okay. So if I put this on the body here, I guess I need to go to the should I do it on the main component here? This is like the main application, right? Next page. Okay, 1 second. Maybe. This is the backend server that's running. Okay, again, this is one of the things that I've disliked about Next is it obfuscates, at least to me, and maybe this is my problem, it obfuscates what's running in the background and what's running in the like what's running client side. It's not directly apparent when I see something that this is server side. Maybe, I mean, obviously because it's in the server folder, that makes it easy, but yeah. I think this is like the main one, right? Because I have this app, yeah, and that's what I did. I did the header, sidebar, component. So and then is this the main here? How did what's the session provider? Oh, that's the auth. Okay. So they're wrapping everything in this session provider. Okay, that makes sense. I guess. Then we import the global CSS. I forgot what these page props were. All right, it doesn't look like this page. This one that's getting served. 1 second, where is it? Where is this page? Like, 1 second, I'm just gonna search for this. Maybe this is a string somewhere. Just the basics. That's what I'm gonna search for. Where the crap is just the basics? I don't see it here, right? I don't think it's. Oh, it is here. It is here. It is in the index. Okay, never mind. So we have the head, and now we have the main. What's this? I've never seen this. Is this just a div? Is this another way to write div? Like they just were too lazy to write div? I don't know. Where is body? So I did it on the body here. And so maybe this was a problem that I did. Like maybe this is a bad pattern here. But because I wanted it to be the whole background, I just did it on the body, which in here obviously there is no body tag, and over here that same thing is true. There is no body tag, but that means that I can't put CSS on it because I can only put CSS on things that actually have a tag in here. So I guess what I need to do is I just need to do like a this is probably going to break so many things and people are going to come at me later with like this is wrong, but I'm just going to div class name equals oh, that's right, we don't give it a class name. We actually just put it here in the class name. Okay. Well then, what do we want? We just want to do this CSS. We have it right here. 1 second. Let me pull it back up. We just need the background image. Back. Let's get that auto background. What's back? It wants to do backdrop. Background image. This is not working. This is not working how it's supposed to. Maybe we need to Google. Thought this was supposed to save us. In a Tailwind project, how do I set a background image? Oh, I gotta use BG. Ah, ah. Well, of course. Well, of course. My bad. Not background. So not only do we put everything right here, we changed its name. I got it. Fine. That's CS. Okay. So instead of background image, we do BG. Got it. BG. And then I guess we just do the path here. That's what it was saying to do. Yep. Image URL. Let's see the link. I'm glad this is the first time they have given a link. This is what I've been saying is they need to give a link and it would be more useful. All right. Hey, welcome in. If you're just joining, I'm learning Tailwind because you all asked that I would. So I'm giving it a shot, and I'm not doing very good at it. All right. Well, we actually want background image. Let's check this out. So they did change things. So it's not background image goes to BG. That's kind of annoying, I think. They had to shorten it because they have to put everything in line and it's already getting really, really long. But this just means you have to learn new lingo. Background gradient to T is background image linear gradient to top. Oh, gosh. So now we have to learn a bunch of different classes. Okay. What about center? There doesn't look to be a center. It includes background image utilities for creating linear gradient backgrounds in 8 directions. You can add your own background image by editing the theme.background image section of your Tailwind. Okay. Well, let's throw this in there. We can do that. So it you know what? I do believe web front end is the worst. I don't have an SVG. I just have a image. Pretty cool image. Worked hard at it. I whispered to an AI for like 3 hours to get it, and then I had to edit the image for like 10 hours to get it in its current state. And it still has a lot of work to go. But I didn't do anything. I just actually dumped this in. Let's see. I'm probably not following protocol here. I dumped this in a hero folder and just called it portal to the null because I'm cool like that. Portal to the unknown. So portal to the unknown. Well, it's probably unknown to you. To me, it's not unknown. I get null pointer errors all the time. It's very common. You know, I'm still really bad at mobile UIs. I haven't used mobile UIs recently. The last time I used mobile UIs was like 5, 6 years ago. I don't remember right off the top of my head. I want to say it's 6 years ago. And even then, I was never big on the front end. So, but yeah, like 6 years ago, mobile UIs were still kind of sucking. Not gonna lie. In Android, and I'm assuming this is still true, like when you hold it like this and then go like this, it destroys everything and recreates everything, I think. So you have to like persist it to a local database and reload it all. That seemed really dumb to me, but yeah, I've successfully had a career without having to touch UI. All right, let's see if this actually works. Uh, well, it didn't change it. Maybe I have to hit refresh. Nope. I feel lied to. I want to use the new image. Maybe I have to rebuild. Maybe like this. Maybe if you're doing the Tailwind config, it doesn't. Oh, actually, maybe I have to save. It's saying I'm not saved, but I have saved. I'm hitting save. Maybe we have to actually rebuild. I would hope not, but you know. It's still wrong. All right, so it's not using the background. Okay, so their view models will now live through it, so you don't have to do the whole like persist it to storage and then figure something out. That's nice. It's just the UI, like just the view. I haven't used their whole view model thing yet, so I say yet. I think it's been. I think that was coming out when I was okay. So the last time I touched it was like they just started doing like fragments, like they were fragmenting everything. Um, but I even then hadn't used fragments. Um, I just want to know how to use it. I've now set it. I'm now set it. Okay, maybe I just need to like actually. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's a little angry and I didn't realize it. I started to mess with. Yeah, I have a red dot here. I started to do this, and maybe it's angry about this. Let me delete that. Let's see if it actually. No. Nope. Not any less angry. So we're going to try this. Oops. Oops, oops, oops. I did hero and then insert hero pattern into the. Wait. What did I call it? Man, this should teach me right for like naming things stupid. Portal to the null. Portal, not into. Portal to the. I'm an idiot. Oh, I think I need to come down here and make this a div. Like that. Yeah. Nothing. The fragment versus activity versus fragment activity, I think that they have. It was a little confusing to me. It was also confusing as to which one to use. It seemed like there was competing camps. Again, my knowledge is years old, and I know the mobile has changed a lot. A lot. But so I'm probably am maybe I don't need the square brackets here. I don't. Maybe that's the wrong thing. Nope. Let's inspect this. Come on. This is I don't even know where to look for this because it doesn't have a class name anymore. So like I don't even know how when I debug this, like what is this? It's the wrapper to head. But like if you look for like I guess I can look for head here, so it must be this HTML here. There is no div that wrapped head. And I'm sure that when you get to know Tailwind, all of its magic just seems nice, but like look at all these like things that it generates. Again, probably nice. All these TW translate Ys. I don't know. You keep hearing people with humanity degrees saying that ChatGPT is coming for the job. The funny thing is, the one person I saw, they were like, "Look, I need to do this for my job, and I can ask ChatGPT to do it." And it was like, okay, but you had to ask ChatGPT to do something specific. Now, this means that you can be more productive, and maybe they don't need as many of you because you with ChatGPT can do more. Yes. But it's not like ChatGPT knew what to do. It needed to be prompted to know what to do. Okay, so this is not working. This is not working. The people that voted last week to have me do Tailwind aren't here, so I think I might just abort and do something else. Feels defeatist. I just wanted a background image, like that's all I wanted. I've tried this. I've tried setting a hero pattern. Let me try one more search. How to make a center aligned background image in Tailwind. Developers always find a way to lower the bar. All right. Let's see. What are we doing here? Let's see. So we're just doing, oh my gosh. They just did a style inside of the, I don't think that this is correct. I've never seen Tailwind written that way. So maybe you do just slap a style in there? Well, why didn't Tailwind tell me this? Tailwind's just like, do this right here. And I tried this specifically. That didn't work. And then I removed the square brackets because I thought maybe they were saying, I don't know. I think maybe the square brackets are supposed to be there. So we'll add the square brackets back in. I'm going to delete this. And then we're going to jump into here. And we're going to add those square brackets back in. Where were those square brackets? BG dash and then a square bracket. Seems like a weird spot to have a square bracket, but like, not gonna judge. I'm judging, but and head doesn't even have a div around it. I'm sorry. Well, I think I'm going to lay Tailwind to rest. I think until the people that mandated me try Tailwind join in chat to tell me how to do a simple thing like a background image, none of these things work. I tried to use the theme. I tried to do this. The last thing I can do is I can try to do it like these people are doing. Let me actually try this. Let me try this before I give up. We'll see if these people actually know Tailwind better than Tailwind does. If this works, I will not only be upset, I will be annoyed. And I feel like it's wrong. Just wrong. Okay, let's do hero portal to the G. It doesn't like that, but you know what? I don't care. Let's see the compile time output. It says it compiled. Wait. Here it goes. Never mind. Uninspected token div expected JSX identifier. This is fine. You can do div. What are they talking about? See, div is fine. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do their garbage that they had up here, which again is something I never did in my other one. So I don't know how it could be required here, but we'll just say it is. Let's see if that fixes it. Well, that broke something. That definitely changed it. Well, let's refresh. Oh, okay, we have an error. Let's jump over and see that. Oh boy, I broke it. This is good though. At least something is changing. Warning: invalid DOM property class. Did you mean class name? Probably. Oh boy. You know what? I now want to jump back to how we were originally doing it. Let's undo. This right here, but add these empty div things. These empty brackets. You don't like... Oh, I accidentally added these up here too. Okay. Don't know what these are. I seriously though, I didn't ever have to use them in the past. With just a normal Next.js app, like just to prove my point, I always just returned a div. So that's kind of weird that the create T3 app requires those things. Our app is back. Oh, wait. Yeah, our app is back, but I don't know that this is being... Now, this should be wrapping head, so let's go ahead and check our DOM really quickly. See, there's nothing wrapping... I don't know what... Let's check our terminal. Okay, so it's still upset. It's... No, it's compiled. This was... Let's actually just clear this and then run it again. I just want to make sure it's not upset. It's not upset. That's what I thought. I fixed it. But it's still not displaying anything. Okay. So let's delete the square brackets, which seem really weird, and I don't think I've seen. Let's try that. Let's see if there's any errors. Let's see. No errors, right? Okay, yep. I'm giving up on this until the people that wanted it are gonna show up and support their going to show up and support their own garbage. I know that I just offended a lot of people because a lot of people, it's the new thing. Tailwind is the new thing, and I was gonna try to use Daisy because it looks like it has a bunch of nice stuff. Honestly, this looked nice. Like they have a bunch of stuff pre-built that I wasn't going to have to build as components that look nice. So like a collapsible bubble, these are really nice, and I'm definitely going to have to build this in I'm going to have to build these things myself. So like sadly, I just can't even get a background image. What am I missing? Did I just Google wrong? Tailwind display background image. I'll show you what I was trying to do. Let's see. We can go here. npm run dev. So what I was trying to do was this right here, where there was this background image that just spanned the entire background. That was the idea. That's all I was trying to do. This is a known error. I have auth in there, but auth isn't running. Okay, so what am I doing? These are all gradients. I don't want gradients. Actually, I want to see if this exists in 1 second. If that exists in the code. Okay, so this is our background gradient right here. Maybe the reason this isn't working is it's just stomping on it with this in a higher, or maybe in Tailwind you can't do something around the head. Like I don't know. We'll delete this. We'll slap this in there. We'll jump down here, delete this div. We will go over here and we'll assume that I wrote everything beautifully. We'll click, no, not this. We'll go back to 3000. Okay, so that did change the background color, but it didn't give us a... Let's check our errors. No errors. Would have been helpful. It got us to change, at least. That was nice. But... maybe I need to delete these. Okay. Done. Should I put the square brackets back in there? Arbitrary value support. Using arbitrary values, well, you can usually build the bulk of a well-crafted design using a constrained set of design tokens. Once in a while, you need to break out of those constraints to get things pixel perfect. I don't even care about pixel perfect, dude. Oh. Oh, so when they do square brackets like this is them breaking out. How is a background image breaking out? I just want a background image. I want a centered background image. It's not a... So I do need the square brackets. There we go. Finally. All right. Now, the thing is, I think they wanted me to do it over here in this config where I did this background image. That's not what I wanted to do. It asked me, I clicked yes. I deleted our hero image. Let's recopy that. That was definitely not the plan. Where did I copy that from? All right, we'll just get, we'll pull it anew from over here. Where's public? There we go. I don't know. So they wanted me to do it there. That was like, but so their documentation is a little confusing because here it says, okay, here it's saying do this hero pattern here. But then it never showed me how to use this hero pattern. It didn't just work. Like I did this. Let's see. I don't need footer texture. I did this, and URL is hero or but then they don't tell me how to use this. Well, maybe I just need to search that. How to use Tailwind, how to use theme. Color palette, type, scale, fonts, background, border, radius, values, and more. Maybe what I need to do is Tailwind hero class. Okay, this is what I want right here. Oh, you want to sell it to me? You want to sell me how to make a hero section? Perfect. This is a great thing. Is there a hero class? How do I use they're just using an image. I don't want your code. Let's see what this looks like. All right. Okay, there's a hero. All right, there is a hero. That's what I was looking for. Whew. Oh, they do it this way with like the background image, the style. Is that how everyone's doing it these days? Let me try this. Let me try this. I thought that I could just use this, like, as, I don't know. Let's see here. All right, we'll jump back into here. I'm just going to throw a div around this main class. That feels right to me. It doesn't like this style or class. It wants class name. It's not going to like this. I promise you. I promise you. Watch. Let's look at the terminal. Well, it compiled. Probably shouldn't have promised. I have no idea what I'm doing. Yeah, it didn't like it. So I saw two things. It said class instead of class name. This is what Daisy UI said, though, right? This is what they gave me. Oh, I'm an idiot. There it is. The JSX. Okay. Okay, that was like straight HTML. All right, all right. I got this. I got this. I was gonna say, this just looks wrong, but it was wrong. So there's that. That looks better. This is still gross, I think. We'll just do hero and then update this. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, well, it did something. 1 second. Let's delete this. And that. All right. Hey. Only blood, sweat, and tears. We have a background image. Yeah. I feel like that took longer than it should. I feel like that should take longer than it should. Yeah. All right. Well, I am going to take a break. I'm going to run upstairs, get a cup of coffee started. I'm going to see if I can't talk a child of mine into finishing the cup of coffee. And when I get back, I'm going to do, let me let Russell know. When I get back, we'll do something different. We'll do something a little bit different. We'll see. We'll see what it is. While I'm gone, let's watch some Mid-Journey creations. Which room? Which room in Mid-Journey should we follow? 13. It's our lucky number. So let's it's not gonna let me snap to the bottom. I hate it when it's like, no, you don't want to be on the most latest. All right. This looks like there's a particularly boring group of people. Not gonna lie. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Okay, well, maybe we won't do this. Maybe we won't. All right. Anyways, 10-minute break. I'll be right back. And I'll see you guys yeah, in about 10 minutes. I'll just leave this. You know what? I'll just leave this beautiful desktop. I need a be right back sign. All right, I'm back. I'm back. All right, I'm done with Tailwind for right now. It was frustrating. I see some of the cool things, I think. I also had some pretty frustrating things that I'm going to need somebody that's more familiar with Tailwind to tell me about. They want these. I don't know what these are, but like they want these empty. They're not divs. They're just empty. They don't want this to be a div, and I don't know why. Um, I know that in my normal Next.js or Next TypeScript, um, these are divs, and it's fine. Not sure what's going on here. This seems like an anti-pattern to me. And the reason I'm saying that is Tailwind doesn't have a way for me to do a background image. And so I kind of have to break out of the matrix and do this style. We literally spent what time is it? What time is it? An hour and a half making this background image. Now I'm sure that somebody that knew Tailwind would take, but it wasn't easy to search. I searched through countless things looking for it, and the thing that got me was this. Like I finally figured it out by Daisy UI telling me that they had a hero that looked kind of like this. I know. I was just ending what we had. We're not doing Tailwind anymore. It was amazingly painful. So anyways. All right, let's close this project down. And get rid of all these Tailwind things. All right. So we can get rid of Ori. We're not going to do that right now. We tried Tailwind. It sucked. Close the server down. So what are you doing? Okay, so I have two things that we could do. I have something that's probably going to break my cloud. That's always an exciting one. I can pull that up. The other thing that I wanted to think about what you and I talked about yesterday a little bit, Russell. Because my mind has kind of been spinning on it a little bit now. And where did my all right. So my mind has kind of been spinning on it a little bit. And I wanted to maybe like draw it out. Maybe I could open Excellidraw and Excellidraw. What is it called? Excellidraw. I think it's Excellidraw. Oh, remember the last thing I did. How nice. Can we do new? New? Open. There's no new. I'm going to actually save this one. Save to disk. We'll just call this what is next for the Okay, cool. How do I do new? Do I just delete this? How do I do a new drawing? I have open, save, export. I guess I just delete. Okay, we'll just delete. Done. All right, that's how I do new. Not the Wasm OCI builds. What I was thinking about is the build container as a service. Really? I can use it in VS Code? What is it called? Let me just EXCA. I can remember how to spell it. Oh, I just copied that. Okay, this looks cool. I'm just gonna have to trust this person. Doing it. It has good ratings from 17 people. Probably not most likely mining Bitcoin. You create an empty file with .acceledraw. Oh, cool. So I can just do a .acceledraw file. So if I just wanted to, like, in documentation, drop an .acceledraw. Let me try that. Is it gonna work? Feel like it's not working as told. This extension integrates. To use it, create an empty file with a .acceledraw. Oh, they're not saying like an extension. They're saying like the whole thing has to be just acceledraw. Okay, one second. Rename .acceledraw. No, it's saying with an extension, so like it should just be fine. I screwed something up. It's probably not it. We'll call this demo dot acceledraw. Let me restart Visual Studio Code. Let me try that. I just needed to restart. That was sometimes I have found that when you're installing things. Ooh, can I get the dark mode on here? Where are my options? In the web browser, there's this hamburger menu with options. Where's my hamburger menu? Where's my options? My eyes are bleeding. Oh, you know what? I bet it's like I just have to actually go into the options. So let's go into preferences here. And then there's usually extensions. Let's see if there's an acceledraw. Let's see. Theme dark. Beautiful. Okay. Awesome. Oh, that's so much better. So much better. All right. So yeah, I was thinking about build containers as a service. Now I don't need the acceledraw in here, so this is not. I'm going to delete that for right now because it doesn't need to be in. This is actually so. What I did, Russell, here was I was working on the null cloud deployment, and actually, now that I deleted that, I think that I do need a Excel draw here. Let's do one. Let's call this arch dot Excel draw. How the null cloud is like my end goal. And it doesn't work this way right now because we only have one Kubernetes cluster. But my end goal, what would happen is we'll have this cluster of machines, and it will actually have multiple machines in it. This is one. This is one Kubernetes cluster. And make that extra large. One Kubernetes cluster, multiple machines. And this will be the control plane. And then what we'll do is we'll do another Kubernetes cluster. And this will be the data plane. This is where like people's workloads and stuff will actually run on this one. So effectively, what happens is this is everything that is the null cloud runs here. Everything that is like customer, null cloud customer runs here. Kind of a separation of of church and state there, I guess you could call it. That's the idea. I don't know. I didn't really need to draw that out. Call this the work plane. Work plane. Most people call it like the data plane. Like if this was the database, this would be the data plane. Yeah. So if somebody deploys our Discord bot, and we'd make it so that our Discord bot can be deployed, yourself and configured for your own server, that would run here on the data plane, not on the control plane. All right, but we're not talking about this. Let's switch back over to here. So what I wanted to talk about then was what we were talking about is the... Actually, let me update the title of the stream so people aren't confused. I am no longer trying that. Update title. Backend engineer. What should the title be? Rethinking pipelines. So it's one Kubernetes instance for all customers. So in theory, this could actually be sharded, the data plane. You could have another one. So like this could be your GDPR data plane, or whatnot. You could even do this one data plane per customer. I'm not going to do that. So like if you wanted single tenancy, so if you wanted a full isolation, the null cloud isn't going to do any full isolation. It's just too expensive. Like it requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of hardware too, to have that full isolation. So you could go like the multi-tenancy route where you get your own machines, you get your own Kubernetes cluster, you get your own networking, and you do a data plane per customer. Per customer. We're going to do a data plane shared, at least until I can afford. If I can afford this, that's fantastic. But they'll be all shared equipment or shared hardware. So yeah. Yeah, so my goal is actually, so So I think I have a pretty cool idea. So for this, I'd love to do like containers as a service. Like a lot of people have like, oh, you can just deploy your app if it's a container. And I think I can do that pretty easily. We have this, which is basically just defining an app based off of a Git repo. And I'm basically going to expose this in a web page form where you can just define this and it will deploy your app in an isolated network. The thing that you're not going to see here is that there's other things that go with yours, like there's Istio configuration to isolate your network. So, it jumps over here and it automatically deploys in your own namespace. That's another thing that you're not going to get to define here is what namespace. This namespace isn't going to get to be defined by you. That's going to be defined by me, and it's going to go into your namespace. Your namespace in Istio is going to be locked down to itself, so it's not going to be able to talk to any other namespace from the network side of things. The other thing that I have installed on here, if you look at here, I have gvisor. So like I actually have gvisor installed on these machines. So memory wise, you're also safe. There's boundaries there. So your applications can't infringe on other people. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of how I was thinking that part of it would work. And you just get your container. Your container would just deploy, and you would have, I'm not going to support custom domains. You're going to get a route. Eventually, we can support custom domains. That would be fun. Eventually, that's a lot of work. I'm not going to do it right now, but eventually that would be fun. But yeah. So that was the thought. I say it won't be too hard, but it will be a work. So when you're saying like Postgres, I think I would need to provide Postgres as a service. Like if you're talking about a stateful thing, I don't think this will run a stateful thing initially. For your website, your static website that you compile into a container, it will work fantastic for. If you're talking about a website or a stateful backend, it's not going to work well then. Not initially, at least. Multiple services should be fine though. Yeah, so I'll have to have like a catalog of backend services that I provide as a service. Initially, I'm not going to do that because there's only so much I can do as one person. But initially, it will work well for statically hosting your website or playing around. Or I guess if you want to do like an in-memory, I think I want to say that you should also be able to do stuff like our Discord bot with a. I would like to be able to support things like our Discord bot with a SQLite database that gets backed up. I think that should be doable, even if we have to custom do it. So, like, hey, I support this thing and it backs up for you. I think that should be doable. So you can do a little bit of stateful application here. That's the idea, at least. And then if you want to do microservices, this is actually where I think the whole industry needs to pivot. We keep trying to solve microservices in ways that provide more complexity, which I don't think is the right solution, and I don't have maybe what I think of as the right solution just yet, but I have some ideas on it. This should work though if you deploy two containers. These are containers, by the way. I know these were representing actual nodes, but these are containers down here. The thing that you can do here, I want to draw, is this is going to be service A, and this is going to be service B. These two should be able to reference each other. Because they are in the same namespace, and their services that expose them to the outside world should also be exposable internally. So A and B should be able to reference each other. So you should be able to deploy two things that talk to each other and communicate to each other. The stateful things are the things that are going to take more time. And what I'll need to do to really support it, I can provide Postgres as a service. So I could provide Postgres. But and you guys could then like point back to that. But what would be really great is if I provided you some way to attach storage to these. Provided Longhorn as a service in your namespace, so you have block storage inside your namespace. That's where we can go eventually. We're going to take it one step at a time. I'm hopefully going to make some videos while we do all of this. Yeah. Your choices of databases are Squirrel Light Squirrel. Light Squirrel. That's right. It's a Light Squirrel choice. So, yes, your options are going to be limited. I have a limited amount of time, so I have to do things in the easiest way to provide something. And then we can iterate on it, and we can make it better as we go. We can make it better as we go. All right. Now, what I wanted to talk about, is the deployment pipelines. You got me thinking. We have a couple. I'm going to try to make this pretty. We have a couple options for development and deployment pipelines. And we'll start with a personal favorite of mine is the GitHub Actions. We're gonna zoom in a little. We're not gonna zoom in. Please zoom in. There we go. GitHub Actions. We'll draw a line down like this. No, I want it to stop. There we go. GitHub Actions. Then we have we have our Circle CI. We have our Travis. I'm just going to list a few out, then we can draw lines. Jenkins. ECT. Okay. There's also Drone. I'm not sure that I'm prepared to talk on each one of these. But there is one thing that I've noticed with all of them. Yeah, I was gonna say, Russell. Too many people are trying to provide everything shop, and it becomes difficult as you need to wade through service catalogs and documentation. You know what I think? For me, the null cloud should be first and foremost a tool that everybody gets to learn from. And I know that I haven't done a very good job of leveraging that yet because I really wanted to provide some service that people could sign up for before making a video on how I created everything that is there. And the thing is, there's a bunch of stuff there that's actually really cool even now. From how I deploy Kubernetes on bare metal to how I load balance and route traffic, how I do certs and everything like that. There's actually a ton of stuff that's really cool that I need to make videos on, but I've kind of been waiting on. It should first and foremost be a learning tool. Now, if we can provide something useful, I think that would be fantastic. I would be thrilled if there's a group of devs that find it useful, that find it easy to use, that find a service that fills a need that they have. I'll be happy with that. But what I want to do is like focus on where we can learn and focus on where the community has a problem. And if we can solve those problems for the community, then that would be great. And just let's focus on solving those problems and not doing everything because, yeah, it just turns out to be a lot of work. And eventually, maybe we do everything. But for right now, we'll just focus on a few things and try to do those things well. And then if people like them, if people like deploying containers on the null cloud because it's easy and simple and straightforward and intuitive, and they're like, let's have some backends like SQLite or Postgres, well then we can focus on that because then people have wanted to do that and we can learn how to do it. All right, so all of these pipelines are great in their own way. I'm going to have a couple negatives here. The negatives that I dislike about GitHub Action, vendor lock-in. Uh, vendor lock-in, yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like that it didn't get vendor is like an insult to me. It went tender, render, sender, veneer, bender, but not vend. I'm super off. I don't know how to spell vendor. There we go. Lock-in. All right, vendor lock-in is a big one. I think it's not too concerning to me. I'm gonna do my open source on GitHub. It's the most accessible, so like for me, that's not a big problem. Another big problem that I find with it is local. And what I mean by local, and this is one that I think all of these struggle with. This one has so many negatives. Local is just one of them. But another one that I want to go back over here and put down that I think this one that GitHub Actions struggle with, and don't get me wrong, I love GitHub Actions. This is not me like hating on them. They did some things that were really good. Like if you write a plugin for Jenkins, it takes forever, and I misspelled Jenkins on purpose. It's janky. And again, I'm not hating on the developers that work on it. They've done a great job. It's just an old piece of software that has been, pushing through, trying to modernize. And it was the first thing that did the things that it did. Anyways, local is bad. It also doesn't do end to end well. And I'm gonna say slash testing. You can, but I think that it could do better here. I think that it could do better in supporting these. And we can get into why I don't think that it supports end-to-end testing well. The thing with end-to-end testing, it usually requires environments and things like this that it doesn't inherently understand, and that's fine. That's fine. But if you then talk about like your Kubernetes environment and things like this, it starts to even get more, and you can start piling in plugins to solve this. But I honestly think that the UI for end-to-end testing in GitHub Actions, it's just not really geared for it. It's also not geared for something you spin up a test and then come check back later, because that action has to sit there running, pulling, are you done with your test yet? Are you done with your test yet? There are definitely things about actions that I'm not a big fan of. And you got me thinking, because I've been okay with GitHub Actions. I've been thinking, yeah, GitHub Actions are fairly good. But these last two things here, this local testing and end-to-end testing. And I know that you weren't specifically talking about it in reference to GitHub Actions, but this is kind of where my mind was going down when you were talking about this build pipeline, was the fact that almost all of these suffer from the same thing. The only one that doesn't suffer from vendor lock-in is Jenkins. So, we can copy and paste this to all of these. And again, like that's maybe not drone. I think drone is also open source. Um, or partially open source. Like they have like open core, I think. So, maybe they have a little vendor lock in. Now, I haven't tried Azure Ops, and so maybe I need to try Azure Ops because maybe they have some really good concepts there. You're not the only person that has told me that like Azure Ops is actually pretty nice. But this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm thinking. Let's cut this off there. No, no. What if we want to build a system that you can run it on the null cloud if you want. So there's a server component to it. And the reason I think a server component is important is because you want to be able to do things like environments and stuff like that. So you want to have a server that knows where all those things is, but you also want to be able to do full locally. So almost like Git, where like it can be on a central server where that's a little bit more powerful because you have access to certain things and resources, but you can also run locally. What I want it to also be able to do, so it needs to have a server. This is way too big. Okay, 1 second. 1 second. That did not work out how I intended. Server. Local. And what I want is full reproducibility here. So you can build, but also run tests. So the local should have full I'm not going to spell reproducibility, but full features local. Meaning everything the server can do, it should be able to do. I think I would even take this as far as saying that if server can push to prod, which I'm not saying that this user should be able to, so our back will get into the way of this. But if the server can push to prod, then I think that you should be able to run that same thing, that same pipeline that pushes to prod here. If the user that's logged in this local instance has the permissions on the server to do that, they should be able to do it locally too. And the server is a build server plus orchestrator manager. Exactly. That is what I'm thinking. So a containerized build server, and the server is a build server orchestrator manager. Correct. So the server can also have, build machines, basically, that can do all of this out here for you. So the only thing that's different, really, between the server and your local is a build farm. And I say build, but I mean build, run, test, whatnot. Now, obviously, we'll run this server in your own namespace on the null cloud, so you can have a full self-hosted, or you can host it yourself, or a full, I'm going to say serverless, because you don't have to manage the server. I'll manage it. You can have a full self-managed or fully managed service, or you can run it yourself because it will be an open source project. I also think you should be able to just run it locally. And maybe these are the same thing, just how they're configured. I'm not entirely sure yet. And I think that it should provide value without the server. I think that you should be able to use this to manage all of your builds and everything without even using the server. That's, I think, if we can get there where it's like the next make tool for local, even if you don't use the server, that's the golden. Like, you have just done it where, it's almost like Basil, but not sucky. Did I hear about Dagger? Yes, this is not quite like Dagger. But hey, welcome. I'm gonna call you Herky. Is that how I pronounce it? Herky? It's like a hickey, but for gods. Sweet. And sorry, I just made fun of your name while trying to pronounce it. um, welcome, welcome. So yeah, we can talk about Dagger. It's dagger.io, I think. I'm guessing. Sweet. So Dagger is like part of the issue that we're talking about. We will need a spec language to control the build. That is correct. So we could try to just use Dagger for the spec language to control the build. So we're talking about right now the server part of it. We haven't actually gotten to what controls the build. Yeah. I actually don't mind Dagger. So like Dagger could be the spec language to control it. Yeah. It is also a popular one. I haven't actually used it a ton. I've been thinking about changing the null cloud stuff to Dagger. I've heard a lot of good about it. I just haven't used it because I'm not set in my ways, but I most of my pipelines already existed before Dagger came out, so like the work to actually change them over was work. But yeah. So for the build files, we'll need build files. Build files. This could be YAML. This could be Dagger. Our own. I don't really want to do our own. I feel like that's rough. I almost would prefer it to be like Python. And everybody knows that I really hate Python, but I think that it could be really good for like a configuration language almost. Python, Lua. Not recommending Lua. I think I would lean towards Dagger though. I think we should like talk about it a little bit, like the pros and cons of each way of doing it. I feel like Dagger is a little dangerous from like the pure YAML, because pure YAML is like that pure declarative, where Dagger steps you like half a step away from being declarative. And so I think it can be dangerous. Rust macros. Oh gosh. Oh god, no. No, no, no. Not Rust macros. Not Rust macros. Anyhow, this is kind of what I'm thinking. And so this is now, I want to say, like, if we're talking about how this operates, I want to say it's kind of like not there, kind of like how Dagger does. If I understand how it works, runs your pipelines in containers. Yeah. Again, I think this is kind of how. So again, maybe we could just use Dagger straight here for this. Now, the only thing There we go. Dark mode. Let's read about this. See, I feel like this is missing some of the point. Like this is like Dagger may be a good fit if you want to use code instead of YAML. So you want to use Go instead of YAML, which I don't know that there's a huge benefit. It's nice because I feel like we're all in YAML hell, but I don't know that this is like a huge selling point. It's maybe a little bit more powerful. Yeah, I get these are like more hype statements than anything else. So this is fine though. This is what I'd like to do here for the build portion of it. I think that we need to take this a little bit further though. So the other thing that I think is really important to make sure that you do is the plugins. Um, so what I mean by that is like GitHub Actions did this really, really well. Where you can make a plugin really easy because it's just a container. I don't know if Dagger lets you do the plugins really easily, but I want you to be able to use other people's modules for your pipelines because then you can have a Kubernetes one, then you can have a whatnot, and this is really, really, really powerful. Can I use other people's containers here? Okay, so if it runs in a container, you can add it to your pipeline. I wonder how if it runs in a container, it's not saying that you can add another person's container. I would like the ability to add a container and basically pass the output of one container to the next, or honestly, it would just be mounting a file system. So like you mount the underlying file system from the last container to the next container. Um, the other thing that I would like to see here is branching, and I don't know, they might support it, but this looks like each build is very you do this container, then this container, then this container. What if your build wanted to branch for some reason? Let's say that these first three things were common, and if you were deploying uh, if you were deploying, building, or testing, these first three were the exact same. And so, really, you wanted all these three to be the same until you decide whether you're deploying or building or test pipeline. These are the types of things where it could just be the graph that's a little misleading. Although Dagger does seem to be like 3/4 of what I was thinking. Originally, I was thinking that Dagger was just like you don't want to use YAML. Is it written in Go? Yeah. It's written in Go, TypeScript, Python, JavaScript. I get the JavaScript and TypeScript because they probably have like a front end. They either have a web page on there, but what's the Python for? Oh, is this like their API? Yeah, their SDK. Okay, so I have a Python SDK. Okay, okay. Let's look at their API. Do they have an API or they just have their SDKs? They don't publicly state what their API is. Um, so, Dagger's a little interesting. Dagger's always running against a server. So do you have to have the server running when you do a build, like a Dagger build? Now, the basic structure of the Go CLI tool is defined and functional. Why do I have to highlight these to see them? That's garbage. So the other thing that I don't know that this would do here, and this is, I'll go back to my drawing, even though it's not great. If this server here has secrets, so like deployment secrets and stuff like this, secrets. What it would be nice is if when I log in locally, that I get all of those secrets that I'm allowed access to, that I'm allowed to use, per my RBAC. And so, like, if I wanted to run the thing to build a container that pushes it to our private internal container registry, and there's a pipeline to do that that I have access to, I should be able to do that. Would it be reference? What are you asking about? Reference of what? Oh, where's the this website is really hard to read. Like they didn't do a very good job with their color scheme. Like you have to highlight it. Let me turn it off the dark and see if that fixes. Yeah. So they made a dark theme, but I don't think they've ever used the dark theme because you can't read it in the dark theme. All right, they made to the left menu. Reference. Here. Okay. But this SDK is obviously to like an HTTP server, right? Maybe not. Maybe okay. It could just be. The reason I was thinking HTTP server is because they talk about client. They're like getting a client and connecting. But I guess they're not like connecting to a place. They're just passing Dagger. Uh, Dagger with log output. So this is probably just like a local, like this is like instantiating Dagger locally, I guess. Would be my guess. Let me get back to running locally. Create a, let's see. So the thing that's weird here is like it's literally the Go. This pipeline is the Go code. So you don't do like dagger run. You just run the code, right? Now that the Go CI tool can build a Go application, output the build result. The next step is to extend it for multiple. So let's look what they're doing here. They're client.host directory, get the Golang image, Go latest. I'm not sure that we've done a great thing here. So like I guess why this doesn't look great to me is they built a container that is literally a one-line Docker build. Am I just misreading that? And then they use Go to build the thing, to go to build the project. What is Dagger even doing here? So client. It's doing stuff like this, which again we can just I don't know. They're getting a Golang image. So they wrapped container images. Maybe I need to try this a little bit more. So Dagger to me at this point just seems like a wrapper around Docker build. Is that wrong? Am I wrong? I'm sorry, Russell. Have we done anything? No, we haven't done anything. We can go do something else. I need to understand this, I guess. I was trying to understand. So this is, I don't want to recreate the wheel here. This is what I was thinking. I don't think this is what Dagger is. To me, I'm just, uh, let's see. Um, Herky Herky was saying like this was what Dagger was, and I don't think that this is what Dagger is. To me, Dagger seems like a wrapper to the Docker engine itself. Um, but yeah, we can go on to doing some other stuff. I'm trying to understand what this is, but it just seems when I read this code and like this, they're like, this is a multi-build pipeline, and they're just making for loops, and they're like just running Docker build, right? I need to talk to David Flanagan. I think he really likes Dagger. I think I've seen him post about it, and I respect his opinion. So I feel like I'm missing something, but all this shows me right now is that Dagger wrapped. Oh boy, and it's just a bunch of nested for loops. I don't know that. I'm not sure that I actually like this. Well, let me look at the guides really quickly. So I thought it was a wrapper around the OCI runtime where it was like, yeah, we'll run your Docker build and those types of things, but in the majority of the sense, it was more of a we're going to run a pipeline manager that runs on top of the OCI, not a we just wrap the OCI and build stuff straight on it. Because if you if we go back here, see, it says like it's using the runtime, and I guess it probably is actually using the runtime, but I thought that it was like building these pipelines. But when I look over here and look at the code, I don't have the code up anymore, but if when I look at this code here, it looks like it's replacing a Docker file, which is the weirdest thing to me. Like, I want to have my Docker files still. Like, what was there a real problem with our Docker files? Because like this is like output is a client.container from Alpine with exec string. Like this just seems like a code replacement for Docker, not a build pipeline. Okay, so that's not what I was thinking here. Like, honestly, I think this initially, like, while it's going to build in containers, it doesn't need to build a container. It should be able to build whatever you want. You want to build a VM image, you want to build a binary, you want to build an apt image, an apt package, you want to build an arch package. It should be able to build whatever you want. It's not to build a container, not a wrapper around the OCI. Will it use the OCI? Yes. So I think it's different. Again, I'm sorry. I just wanted to go through that because I wanted to make sure I wasn't recreating the wheel. If somebody else has already solved this, I'm good with that. I think you want a tool that uses the output of this. Yeah, basically. Basically, I want something that looks at, I'm going to say, like, we need a name for this, but like, if this is ring, one ring to rule them all. Right, there should be a Dagger plugin. If you have a build that's using Dagger, and that Dagger plugin should be a container that knows how to run Dagger. Done. If you've done Dagger, this should be able to do it, and this should be able to farm it out to a build farm. If you have a server and you're like, hey, go run this test, you can say, go run this. What I was thinking is like, let's say I have to give it a name just because like so I can refer to it in examples. I'm gonna call it I'm horrible at names. Ring. So one ring to rule them all. That is a horrible name. But if we wanted to do like ring build, that would just build locally on your machine. But then you could also do like, why the crap did it paste all of this? What the crap? Okay. But you could also do something like uh, ring build remote. And this would automatically build out on the build farm. Or you could do ring build pipeline test all. And this would build, or maybe it should be run. I don't know. I'm just theorizing here. Run, and this would do it locally, but this would run it remotely. And then in the Git repo, you could have things like this in the .ring folder. Again, I just came up with a stupid name. This is not its name. We can come up with a better name. In the .ring folder, you can have a file called like we could follow GitHub's example, and we could just have another folder called workflows, and then in that folder you can have just like deploy.yaml, or again whatever we want, YAML, Python, Dagger. Don't know, don't care. Probably do care. We're just going to stick with deploy.yaml. And this is that pipeline. Or like this one, we could have like test. And that's this here. And this could run on push or on pull request or whatnot. This would take a little bit of work to integrate with each different. I don't know why when I middle click it decides to just paste something randomly, but it does. Middle click is also how I drag though, so um, if we had to do with GitHub as well as with like Circle CI, but maybe that's another plugin, or not Circle CI, but like GitLab. Um, uh, we would have to work on those integrations with the different Git platforms, but that's fine. Um, but yeah, are we just making CMake? Like, I keep getting this feeling like no one's thought of this, and like this is a brilliant idea. And then I keep getting this dreading feeling like I'm just part of the problem of like, oh, I'm not happy with this. Let's recreate the wheel again. I don't know. I don't know what just is. I do know CMake versus just. I've used CMake and make before. Rocco uses just. Okay. So to me, just dagger and all of these are build tools. I wasn't meaning to be a build tool, although inadvertently I am a big build tool because you can use me locally. But you can use it locally with whatever build tool that you want. So, like in theory, like I said, dagger could be one of your build things, but you could also use just as well, right? So I think what I have to say is like we're not looking at actually building the project, right? I think here none of this is actually. And what I mean by building the project, we're not implementing Go build. We're not implementing a container build. We're going to use your make file. We're going to use your just file. We're going to use your cargo, whatever. We're not implementing those things. We are implementing a way to orchestrate and manage these where the remote server and locally are built no differently. Because that's the biggest thing that I see is that like your test pipeline is inherently different because you don't have those environments, you don't have that build farm, you don't have those things. And I want to do this like the marrying of these two things where they can be as similar as possible, easily as possible. Right, but the pipeline is built from the containers rather than any old command. That's right. So when you do this ring build and it does it locally, it's doing it with containers. And that's how you're getting that repeatable build, and it's going to be able to run just like it runs on the server because the server is going to use those same containers. Um, because those containers are defined in a pipeline, and that pipeline is defined in this YAML file, for example. Um, and if is this YAML or is this Go or is this our own thing? I don't know that yet. I haven't contemplated that. We could look at a couple of the modern ways of doing this, and basically just use. I don't want to invent a new one, honestly. Um, I think if we're going with the code way, I would probably do it where we either like use like Python, make it really easy, where like you just return a config, or we just go with YAML. But any files, no. I know. I think it's you who thinks that every file is an any file. Um, Now, obviously, if so on the server, let's say the server has the stuff to deploy to production, but we should be able to say that no user is allowed to deploy to production. Only, a tag, a branch that gets tagged actually deploys to production, or whatever. However you want to deploy to production, whether it's when there's a pool that actually gets accepted into main. That's what I like to do. That gets pulled into production. And then, so your local, when you run locally here, what should happen is that if you try to run ring deploy or run I guess if you're saying run, you don't really need to commit a pipe run pipeline. We'll do abbreviate to P for short. Run pipeline uh deploy prod deploy equals prod. Um and it doesn't matter whether it's remote or locally. This should fail, and it should fail with an RBAC that says you don't have permission to deploy to prod. That's how it should happen. And again, Ring is a stupid name. I know. It's because I'm a Lord of the Rings fan, and I thought one ring to rule them all. One deployment pipeline to rule them all. Anyways, Russell, this is what I blame you. This is what you made me think of right here. And I couldn't get it out of my head that this wasn't recreating the wheel. This wasn't anything that has been done by any of these other ones. And maybe we should do it. We still need to do a little bit more research. We need to do a little bit more thinking on some of these things. But yeah, we're not using any files. We are not using any files. All right. Mario. Okay. No, I don't think that they can actually keep it from Mario. Now, if I put the Mario character, they probably could. They probably could, but Mario, just Mario, I don't know that they could because it's a name. There's actually people named Mario. Um, I think like Mario Brothers, absolutely. Mario, I don't think now obviously they could sue like they don't have to win a lawsuit against me. They just have to file the lawsuit against me because I can't afford to fight Nintendo, which is a shame. But I like it, Mario. What are your thoughts on this, Russell? Like, is this crazy? Is this I don't know. I couldn't get it out of my head that this doesn't exist. That all of these fall short in one way or another. Yeah, you'd have to have, you're right. For people to get why it was called Mario, we'll come up with a name. We can have a naming competition. I think like if your name wins, you get 50 anathema removed from your account, which a couple, like four of you who voted on Tailwind, are getting 100 anathema as soon as that server is up and running because you left me high and dry this morning. You voted for me to try Tailwind and then didn't help me. Shame on you. The ability to use the containers as a fundamental building block. So as the build pipeline goes, like if we're like hypothetically thinking of one of the pipelines here, this is kind of what I was thinking. So each of these squares is a pipeline. I also think like you should be able to run things in parallel. So like you should have a branching pipeline here that can run in parallel. And it would be nice if this branch could also come back together. I think. We'll talk about how this makes it a little bit more complicated, but I think that this would also be nice if you could say, hey, spin these things up in parallel when all of these things are done. When all of them are done, run this one. Now, we have a couple things. These are all in containers, and so I think what this should be is I'm not quite sure on this yet. This still requires some thinking. We mount step 1. And this can write files to step 1. So the root directory is step 1, and then we over here can mount step 2, step 3, So basically, you can, and for example, a classic GitHub action one is the checkout command. So this could be check out my code, checkout. And so we want all of these to be able to use what checkout did. Now, we could just say they all check out the root, but I don't like this because if they just check out the root and dump stuff there, we can't actually have ones running at the same time. We could, but you have to understand that you don't want to change it then, because if these are running at the same time, they would affect this one. But I think that they should be able to access another steps directory. They just shouldn't be able to change another steps directory. So we could do checkout here as step 1. And this one should be able to cd into step 1. It's just immutable. It can't change it for any other step. It can just look at what that thing did. Is it worth looking at existing solutions and see if one can be modified to work in this way before creating yet another CI server? I think absolutely. I think that's part of what we need to do is we need to see, I don't know exactly how all of these work. I couldn't tell you that there's not something that's either the exact same or close. Yeah. So would you map a volume like output and let the step container dump its output into it? I think I'm not entirely sure how this part works. I was just trying. I'm brainstorming a little bit here, on exactly how this would work. I have the thought. I don't know exactly how that would work. Now, the other thing is it would be easier. We could, and maybe this isn't needed, but there's a reason I think that this would be super powerful and super cool. So I'll get back to that in just a second. But we could say that a pipeline is just this right here, that it cannot branch. And then this becomes easy because then we just mount root. And each one can mutate and do whatever it wants. Another way to solve this, instead of giving them their own directory, is that each one makes a copy of the step before it. So each one of these would get a copy of the root file system. So we can all mount to root, but they all get a copy of root. So they think it's at root and they can do whatever they want with it, but it's a copy. Now, the only problem is when we're coming to merge, because if these all think that they got the same thing and then they have to merge down, I don't know how this works. This is the one thing that I don't know on that one. So anyways, this is something we need to think about. We also need to look at open source server build pipelines. I don't know of any that actually do this. Drone and so we have drone and GoCD, which I GoCD. GoCD is the one that I think we might be able to look at and get something. These two are ones that we could look at. I don't know why I changed to blue all of a sudden. I don't know how that happened. These two are ones that are open source as well as do something similar. I think easily GoCD could be a starting point. So we need to think about this, how we pass stuff. Now, the other thing that we could do And this would be kind of like how Argo Workflows works. And Argo Workflows is another one. Actually, I'm going to throw this up here as a possibility. Argo Workflows. Um, it might at least have some code we can reuse. Um, what we could do here is this actually just builds like a zip of outputs. So this builds an output, and you can either use it or not use it. And if you want to use it, you can like actually access the zip file, but you just pass that file to the next one. So we could do that. Well, I disagree. I'm not sure about the copying file systems, as that seems more like your Docker building rather than Docker running. I disagree, but I also agree that copying seems dumb because again, I don't know how to merge it back down when we're all trying to do it. I was just trying to get where you could run multiple steps in parallel, but you can also have stuff that's convenient like this checkout that a lot of people want to use because you want to check out your code and then each one of these steps wants to actually use that code. So we need to figure out that aspect of it. That's all. Checkout will run git checkout, and there you can make it a container, or you can make a container that runs bash, and you can just give bash the checkout command. I think this would be a great container to just make so that it's really easy because there's things like credentials and stuff. So you really just want to do checkout with your credentials that are stored in an environment variable on the main server, on this server, so you don't have to worry about that. And then it checks out the code to, step one. And then this step can just use that code because it exists. It exists at /step1. Now, do we make /step1 read only so this can't mutate it? Do we make it? I'm not sure. Okay, so this is why I was saying we mount this file system into the container. So this, let's say this is build directory, builder, and we mount builder step one. And the cool thing is, if you're running locally, this means after you run the pipeline, you get the output artifacts there. Yeah, this is just the volume idea. That was all. I'm sorry if that was confusing. I apologize. I thought that it would also be nice because like when you build, when you run something like ring build, you'd have all the steps output artifacts. Each step would output its different artifacts right there in your directory. Now, obviously when you're building locally, you don't need the checkout. So I think like maybe this is one thing that we can do is like we don't actually need the checkout because all the code's already there. And so maybe in the system, checkout doesn't even make sense because this already has all the code. Not sure. I think in the server side, it actually makes sense because when the server runs, it's just starting to run something with so in the server side it makes sense because it's just watching this YAML. It has a workflow that knows that this runs. And so I still think the checkout makes sense. Now, locally, you're not going to actually check out the code into a new step. It's going to know that you're locally and that the code's already there. And it's just going to move on to steps 2, 3, and 4. But again, I think like having, in your wherever your build directory is, wherever you're building, builder, you have a step 3 with all the outputs from step 3. Is that making sense? it might not be making sense. And that's probably on me. And maybe this doesn't make sense from just a logic perspective. I'm not sure. Now, we could not do this, where you can have branching, where you could run multiple things in parallel like this. I like the idea of this because you could run big test suites in parallel. You can run big test suites in parallel, which I think are super powerful for trying to get things done and utilization of your hardware appropriately. Um, but we don't have to do that. We could just do it linearly like this, and that would actually make everything so much simpler. Um, Now, because we can just mount a single file system and pass it on, external file system that persists between containers. So this is a container. That's why I put the file system down here, because we're mounting it into the container. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist in the container. We're mounting this into there. All right. Yeah, that was I needed the steps, the individual containers to be able to share some state somehow. And the question is, do we do it the GitHub action way right here, where it's linear, or do we do it this way where it's non-linear? This way is harder, but I think could be powerful. Yeah, we don't have to figure this out today though. That was I was brainstorming some. We need to brainstorm on name as well. All I can think of right now is Buildio. We're gonna build something. All right, let's do a little offline research. I need to do some research. I want to look at. I'm gonna start with GoCD here. I didn't mean to draw a line through it. I'm gonna look at these two. And understand maybe there's some reusable stuff. Um, yeah, we don't need to come up with a name just yet. Hopefully, it does come to us. I want it to be something that's short and simple, so that like from the command line, we could just make the command line tool a shorter name, anyways. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna look at these, see if there's reusable components from them. I think that's actually where I'm gonna start. If anybody else wants to join in on this, feel free to jump on the Discord and investigate and talk about it. I'm gonna start a Git repo, I think, with just this picture in it and a README. It's gonna have a name. It's gonna have an awesome name. We'll call it Project Mario. They can't be mad about that. They can be. And when we get sued, I'll make a video about it, and we'll change the name. They gotta send me a cease and desist first. Um, And I might make a channel on Discord for us to just talk about this. We can talk about it in the null cloud, because what I want to do is I want to do where I'll host it. I provide it as a service, so people can use it. Yeah, as a service. I think that will be fun or good. Possibly people will like it. Maybe. Cario, I like it. Oh, I like it. One second, I'm making that repo right now. All right, we'll make it public. We'll add a README. I don't know what Go get ignore. I'm guessing it's going to be written in Go. I know that we've been doing stuff in Rust. I'm definitely faster at writing Go. And I do think that any projects that we're going to be able to leverage are going to be in Go. So I think for right now, we're just going to leave it as Go. I'm actually going to write a Go, add a Go get ignore. If we can do it in Rust, we'll do it in Rust. But I don't want to slow us down just to do it in Rust. That's a good working name, though. I'm happy with that as a working name. Awesome. I will put this drawing in there as well. This I don't think it will make any sense to anybody except for somebody that watched the stream. I'll yeah. And then, I'm gonna work on a video. Maybe in a month or two, we can make a video on like the basics of what the project is. I think I actually wish that big open source projects would make more videos on like what are the basics, what are we trying to do, what's the goal, what's the target. So if people did want to join in and help out, they could watch the video and get like an understanding, because sometimes it can be hard to like, if not well listed, like what is non-objectives. We could write non-objectives, because I don't want, part of the non-objectives of this, which we already discussed, is we're not making a build system. There's a billion build systems out here. This should support whatever build system. If you want to use Make, this should be fine. If you want to use Go, this should be fine. If you want to use Dagger, this should be fine. Yeah. It's me, Cario. Now, if you think that that was offensive to all Italians, I am Italian by birth. I wasn't born in Italy. Sorry. Let me put it this way. My mom is full Italian. I am half Italian, so I can be offensive to Italians. I am offensive by birth. uh... Okay, actually, that might be a fun collab with Rawcode. I'll ask him if David would be interested in collabing on this video on this project. I would love it if he would be. Yeah. I think the more people, the merrier, the better. I'd also like to just get his opinions. He's in a lot of this stuff, so. The last thing that I have, I need to get going. But the last thing that I have is I updated our deployments. So I did this infrastructure. I was going to show you this. I think this is going to break the null cloud. Maybe I'll do this on Tuesday night. Maybe I won't do it. I won't do it today. we'll do this Tuesday, but this is a sneak peek of what you can do Tuesday. Or what you can expect from Tuesday. Tuesday, we're going to break my cloud. So originally, the base foundational infrastructure of the null cloud was hand deployed by hand. And I have now implemented it all in Argo. And that means Argo is even going to manage itself. Yeah. So the entire control plane here from all of the cert management. Now, this doesn't have the certs itself. So these aren't actually, this is like cert manager and stuff like that. So don't worry. Or, I mean, Russell, I know that you got excited because you're going to steal all my certs, but we're not doing that. The actual certs, the secrets aren't in here. They reference secrets that manage myself. So all of this stuff is going to get managed now by Argo CD. When I deploy this, there's a good chance everything breaks, though. Yeah, this can really only end in chaos. The null cloud is going to go down. It's going to go down hard. Whether we recover it on Tuesday or not, I don't know. My guess is that it might spill into Thursday or maybe Wednesday. I'll probably work on it myself in my spare time. But yeah, this can probably only end in tears. I'm kind of excited about it. It's going to be kind of fun. We're going to learn stuff about Argo CD that we didn't think we were going to learn. Yeah. Yep. So, so anyways, thank you everyone for watching. I appreciate your time. For all of you who tricked me into using Tailwind and then didn't come and watch, you're getting anathema points as soon as we can deploy them. So this whole change here on how I'm deploying and everything is coming around because I need to attach storage. And since I had to do that anyways and had to implement those things, I thought I might as well just do everything right anyways. So that's what we're doing. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone. See ya.